First, I want to say thank you. Thank you to Commerce Lexington, to the local leadership here with Mayor Gray and the council and others, both the civic leadership and the political leadership, for the partnership that we have had over the last 4 years. Because that partnership has paid off. It's paid off for this Commonwealth, and it's paid off for Central Kentucky and for Lexington particularly. One of the smartest things we did right in the middle of the worst recession of our lifetimes, in 2009 in a special session, when Senator R.J. Palmer and others stepped up with me and we totally revised all of our economic incentive programs here in Kentucky. We gave ourselves for the first time the ability to not only work with a company that we were trying to attract from someplace else to move to Kentucky, but we also gave ourselves the ability and the flexibility to work with existing Kentucky business. Business that wants to grow and expand and create more jobs and expand their facilities and their workforces. And folks, more than anything else we've done in the last 4 years, that has caused Kentucky's economy to come through this recession in better shape than most states. Now, it's been tough. Don't get me wrong, and I know it and you know it. I've had a tough time at state government. I know the mayor's had a tough time locally, and you've had a tough time in the private sector. But when you go out to other states and you look and talk to people, both in the public sector as well as the private sector, about what's going on there, most of the time you can come back feeling a little better about Kentucky because of what we were able to do and because we set priorities in our budget and kept education at the top of those priorities and job creation at the top of those priorities. We are coming out of this now, and we're coming out of it faster and better off than most other states. We're not totally out of it yet, but it's starting, and it's starting in the right direction. Our tax revenues are up. You know, those programs I told you about that we revised since 2009, we've had 388 companies in this state that have been preliminarily approved for one or more of those new programs. Those 388 companies represent a potential capital investment in Kentucky of almost $4 billion. Represents about 30,000 new jobs and retained jobs, jobs that would have left here if we hadn't been able to sit down with those companies and convince them to stay right here in Kentucky. So those numbers are growing, and those numbers bode well for the future of our Commonwealth. As I mentioned to you, our tax revenues are growing now, which tells us in many ways that we're coming out of this recession.